Have you ever spent 10 minutes looking for your phone, only to realize it's in your hand the whole time? That's kind of what we do with meaning. We search like it's lost, while holding it the entire time. You wake up, scroll, make coffee, commute, and somewhere between all that noise, your awareness shuts off. Not your body. You're noticing. You stop seeing the small things that make life feel alive. Meaning doesn't disappear. It doesn't run away. It just fades into the background when your focus narrows to what's next. You stop noticing what's now. And that's the trick, isn't it? We confuse looking for meaning with missing it, because we expect it to be grand, a mountain to climb, a revelation to uncover when it's actually right here, sitting quietly in your pocket. Bro, that sounds poetic, but what's the point? The point is, life didn't lose its meaning. You just got too busy to notice it. Like the phone, like the keys, like every small thing that's been waiting for you to look up. So no, the meaning of life isn't hidden. It's not behind a locked door or inside some guru's book. It's in that unnoticed space between breaths, the one you haven't taken time to feel yet. Everyone keeps asking, how do I find meaning? But that question already assumes you lost it. Meaning isn't a treasure buried somewhere out there, it's more like sunlight. You don't create it, you just need to open the curtains. You don't live a meaningful life by chasing after purpose. You live it by noticing what's already pulsing underneath your routine. It's not about discovering something new, it's about paying attention to what's been there all along. Bro, so you're saying I should just appreciate the little things? Not exactly. That's surface level. I'm saying awareness is the soil meaning grows in. Without awareness, even joy can't take root. Think about it, people say, I'll feel fulfilled once I reach that point. But by the time they get there, they've already missed every moment on the way. Meaning isn't at the destination, it's in the noticing along the path. It's not about what you do, it's how you do it. You can be flipping burgers, coding apps, or changing diapers and still live deeply. Because depth doesn't come from scale, it comes from attention. So maybe the meaning of life isn't hiding from you. Maybe it's just been whispering, waiting for you to listen. And the moment you start noticing, you realize it never left. You did. Bro, that's a nice quote for a coffee mug. But come on, people don't just notice their way into a meaningful life. They struggle, they fail, they need a reason to keep going. Exactly. And that's the point. Meaning doesn't erase struggle, it uses it. If life was comfortable all the time, we'd stop evolving. Growth is proof that something inside you still believes it matters. So what? Pain equals meaning now? No. Pain is information. It tells you where your values are hiding. You don't grow because you suffer, you grow because you listen to what suffering points to. Still sounds like mental gymnastics, bro. If meaning is everywhere, doesn't that make it meaningless? If everything matters, then nothing does. Good question. But no, it's the opposite. Meaning isn't in everything. It's in the moments you choose to give attention to. Awareness doesn't flatten life. It filters it. You decide what deserves your focus, and that's what becomes meaningful. That's how two people can live the same day. One feels empty, the other feels alive. The difference isn't luck, it's noticing. So maybe the cliché, find meaning in the small things, isn't wrong, just incomplete. You don't find it in things, you find it through them. Every cup of coffee, every laugh, every mistake, a small portal back to yourself. We've been sold a version of meaning that looks suspiciously like a LinkedIn headline. Get the dream job, build the dream life, feel fulfilled. Except, most people who get there still wake up tired. You know the type, the once I make it, I'll finally be happy plan. It's a promise we whisper to ourselves until we hit the goal and feel nothing, because the meaning we were chasing was borrowed from someone else's story. Statistically, only a few ever make it to that fantasy point. But the real tragedy isn't the odds, it's that 99% of people waste their whole life playing a game they didn't design. You spend years chasing a mirage, the title, the house, the applause. Then you realize you've been running on someone else's treadmill, not climbing your own mountain. Bro, so you're saying ambition is bad? No. Ambition's fine if it's yours. But when your ambition is built from fear of insignificance, it becomes a trap dressed as purpose. Meaning built on external validation is like chasing a sunset. The faster you run, the quicker it fades. You don't lose because you failed to reach it. You lose because you forgot to enjoy the light on the way there. So yeah, maybe only 1 in a million find meaning through fame or success. But the rest of us? We find it by turning around, by realizing we were never supposed to run that fast in the first place. Randy Pausch was a computer science professor, brilliant, funny, endlessly curious. At 47, he was diagnosed with terminal cancer, months left to live. But instead of retreating, he gave a lecture called Really Achieving Your Childhood Dreams. It wasn't about dying, it was about living well while you can. He talked about failure, curiosity, and the joy of helping others chase their dreams. The hall was full, but it felt like he was talking to one person, whoever needed to hear, "You still have time." Bro, that's heavy. Yeah, but listen, his message wasn't tragedy, it was perspective. When you know time is short, you stop chasing validation and start collecting real moments. Pausch said, "We cannot change the cards we are dealt, just how we play the hand." That line hit millions, not because it's poetic, but because it's true. Meaning isn't about control, it's about participation. He didn't find meaning in a book or a job title. He built it by showing up, teaching, laughing, hugging his kids, and leaving something behind that outlived him. That's what meaning looks like when you stop searching and start giving. You can almost hear him smiling when he says, "Experience is what you get when you didn't get what you wanted." That's not failure. That's meaning in disguise. And it's available to all of us, even without the lecture. If you've ever paused mid-scroll and whispered, "Is this really it?" That quiet question, the one you don't post, don't share, that's where meaning begins. It's the moment you stop performing and start paying attention. You don't have to quit your job or move to the mountains. Sometimes, meaning is just taking one breath without multitasking, looking out a window without filling the silence with noise. Bro, so you're saying enlightenment comes from zoning out? Not zoning out, tuning in. The difference is attention. One numbs you, the other wakes you up. It's funny how we spend thousands chasing peace through retreats, books and podcasts, but rarely ask if we've simply given ourselves permission to notice what's already peaceful. That's the gentle paradox. You can't chase meaning, you can only notice it. And the moment you stop chasing, life starts whispering back. So let this be the breath between chapters, the pause before the next thought. Because even here, between words, between seconds, that's where meaning quietly hides, waiting for your eyes to adjust. There's this silent panic that hits people in their 30 seconds. You look around and think, everyone else found their calling. Why haven't I? But here's the truth, most people didn't find a calling. They just stopped apologizing for where they are. We've been told meaning comes from matching passion to a paycheck. But what if your work doesn't define you, it just funds your becoming? Your job is not your identity. It's just one chapter in the book you're still writing. Bro, easy for you to say not everyone gets to love their job. Of course, but that's exactly the point. Meaning doesn't vanish when you're bored. It hides in the moments you decide to show up anyway. Think about the nurse on night shift, the driver in traffic, the coder debugging at 2 a.m. None of them are living dream jobs. But when they bring care, focus, or humor, that's meaning disguised as routine. You don't have to quit and chase a fantasy career to feel alive. You just have to bring a piece of yourself into whatever space you're in. That's what transforms tasks into testimony. So maybe your work isn't supposed to give meaning. Maybe it's supposed to reveal it by showing who you become when it's hard to care, and you still choose to. We love shortcuts. How to be happy in 3 steps. Find your purpose in 5 minutes. We treat meaning like an app update, quick, easy, one tap to install. But life doesn't work like that. It's not a checklist. It's a process. You can't draw an owl in 2 steps. You know the meme, step 1, draw 2 circles. Step 2, draw the rest of the owl. That's what most advice sounds like. It skips the messy middle, the only place where meaning actually grows. Bro, but isn't simplicity good? Sure, when it helps you focus, not when it makes you blind. Simplicity without depth is laziness dressed as wisdom. Real meaning is iterative. It's full of drafts, detours, and days when nothing makes sense. You don't hack your way there, you build it brick by brick, through trial, failure, and small wins no one claps for. Every overnight success story hides a decade of invisible effort. And every wise person you admire spent years not knowing what the hell they were doing until they did. Meaning doesn't skip that part. So no, there's no 2-step formula for a meaningful life. You can't draw the owl that way. You have to live the lines, erase, redraw, smudge, and start again until what you're creating finally looks like you. Here's the thing, meaning isn't something you understand. It's something you practice noticing. So let's get out of our heads for a second and do something small, real, repeatable. Habit 1. Once a week, write down one ordinary moment that moved you. Not a big event, just something that made you pause, a smell, a sound, a sentence. That's your weekly reminder that meaning hides in the mundane. Bro, that's it? Write stuff down? Yeah. Because journaling isn't for nostalgia, it's for calibration. It retrains your attention, teaching your brain to catch what it keeps skipping. Habit 2. Message one person from your past and thank them even briefly. Not for something grand, but for something small they probably forgot. You'll be shocked how alive gratitude feels when it's specific. These 2 habits aren't self-help gimmicks. They're mental reps for awareness, tiny strength training for your sense of wonder. They don't make life easier, but they make it clearer. Do them long enough, and meaning stops being a mystery. It becomes a muscle, quiet, strong, always there when you need it. You don't find purpose, you practice it. So here's the paradox. The harder you look for meaning, the less you see it. But the moment you stop searching and start noticing, life suddenly feels full again. It's not hiding, it's humming quietly, waiting for you to tune in. You don't need a new philosophy or a 30-day reset. You just need 5 seconds of awareness, repeated daily. That's it. That's the whole secret everyone tries to complicate. Bro, so what now? Now, you look around. You notice the small things, the warmth of your coffee, the face of someone who stayed, the breath that didn't have to come but did. That's meaning. You're holding it. And if you think this whole video was just a trick to make you pause for a minute, you're right. Because maybe the pause was the point. So yeah, maybe hit that subscribe button. Not because it'll change your life, but because maybe, just maybe, it'll remind you to notice it more often. Life isn't hiding from you. It's waving right there in plain sight. You just stopped noticing. Until now.